very common in the wintertime. Juneau has a history of avalanches reaching urban areas as well as infrastructure. Photo on the left is from the 1960s when some homes were impacted from an avalanche that is over some of our urban areas. We also had instances over the years where our utility infrastructure was damaged from avalanches as well. So managing these networks is challenging, and we're looking at ways to help manage this using the technology that's currently available. So here at DOT, our avalanche programs run statewide, where we have hundreds of avalanche paths that we're monitoring throughout the winter that directly affect highway and road alignments. Currently, we run what we call active mitigation programs, so we're using either military artillery, explosives, or other devices to intentionally trigger avalanches during times where they're more easily done in a controlled environment during road closures or storm events when we have to close the roads. We're looking to utilize all types of airborne remote sensing to help make informed decisions, better understand the snow distribution, which will allow us to better utilize resources and eventually lead to cost savings. Specifically for this project, we're looking at snow distribution mapping in our avalanche start zones to really allow us to make informed decisions about avalanche hazards and potentially reduce costs during our avalanche hazard reduction. So I'm going to show you a video here of one of our intentionally triggered avalanches. This is during a time where the road is closed, so you can see a small explosion in the upper start zones, and this is done again during time the road is closed. So we know that there are nobody in the area that we're controlling. And there are no audio files associated with these videos. So you can see the avalanche comes down the mountain, it's just reaching the roadway area now, which is along the sea level, and the avalanche is often run through our transportation networks, utility networks, and down into the ocean. This is something that we do during closures and everything else to prevent this happen naturally when the roadway is open. We partnered with Frontier Precision and DJI here in the last year to test the capabilities of the DJI Dock to help us with our managing these areas. And we're really excited about the technology and all the other applications that we can use this for. So thanks to our partners for allowing us to do this test case. We've heard a lot about this already, but really the applications for us, the ability to remotely operate 24/7, day or night, rain or shine. The weather here in Alaska changes quickly and often a lot of darkness in the wintertime, so having an aircraft that's capable of operating in all those conditions is truly something that's very important to us. I'll show you some screenshots here of the way we're managing our Flight Hub 2 and our avalanche program here in Southeast. So our dock is positioned near one of our avalanche run-out zones that you saw the video of. You can see in the image here on the right all of the known avalanche paths along that corridor, and then as we're starting to collect imagery and information, how we're able to use that in real time. So when we're flying, for us, we have terrain concerns for flying the aircraft, so we're going from elevation of sea level, so 0, up to ridge top is about 3,600 feet or just over 1,000 meters. So we're able to launch the drone remotely, go up, take photos of any hazards in the snow that we're able to see, or document avalanche activity to help make those informed decisions. We're using this as a mapping application, so I'll get into how we're doing that, but we're using this to document after weather events such as snowfall or wind events. We can document how much snow has been transported or deposited into our start zones to have an idea of how big an avalanche could potentially be and what we need to do to potentially reduce those hazards. project milestones here happened a few months ago, where we were able to launch the drone remotely, and we did have a pilot on scene for this operation, but we were able to fly just over ridgetop, so up to 3,600 feet. It took about 3.5-4 minutes for us to climb to that elevation, take a few photos, and then descend back down. So we're really excited about that. I'll get into our waivers and everything else here near the end of the presentation. So again, there's multiple applications for this. We're using it for emergency response, and I'll get into that in a minute, but also inspection of areas, documentation of avalanches, and using this to really make a robust observation network within our zone. As far as mission planning is concerned, we have some unique challenges operating in the mountains. So we have rapidly changing terrain, flight time, concerns as far as battery life, and conflicting air traffic in the area as well. So with our partners at Frontier Precision and DJI, we're able to use some different software packages to do flight planning, both UGCS and Flight Hub 2, to optimize our flights within our corridors to do mapping segments. Each area of interest, or each avalanche path for that matter, was split into different segments to optimize flight time and terrain following. So we could do overflights of the entire area in a single flight, but to collect the imagery that we're looking for, the resolution that we're looking for, we're splitting it into multiple sections to optimize our operations. And also the weather could often limit our operations to the lower run-out areas, where clouds often obscure our upper start zones. So during our initial testing, we've captured some high-resolution aerial imagery of areas that often are known for frequent avalanches, which we're using in our day-to-day operations. The cameras are providing excellent imagery for us for our program here. You saw in some of the other videos the capabilities of the zoom camera, but we're able to launch into some of these environments and look into the next avalanche path, or region-wide, on what activity is going on. So right now we're collecting data for our use for plan for this winter. So we're getting bare earth models and other reference information without snow cover here in the summer, where we can use that for our differencing for our models once we have snow start to accumulate in our start zones. Kind of example of our workflows, this is something we're using internally right now, how we're capturing imagery with the dock or other platforms. We're then uploading it to the cloud using different applications for processing that data. Right now we're using SiteScan and then hosting it in our Esri environments to then share amongst users. We're also using this for, I was telling you about emergency response a little bit. So it was touched in the last presentation, but if we do have an avalanche that reaches the roadway, or a natural avalanche that occurs, we can immediately launch the dock for rapid response to scan the roadway for any vehicles, any persons, or anything that is damaged to infrastructure. With our steep mountainous terrain, our corridors are pretty confined, and we usually have utility corridors. So Juneau's powered by hydropower south of town, and those transmission lines are co-located with our transportation network. So we have multiple opportunities to use this technology to do inspections of both transportation and utility corridors. And we did do that during some of our initial testing. We've been able to program missions that benefit both utility company and DOT. Another opportunity that just recently came up here last month, in the northern part of our state, we had flooding that was occurring on the Dalton Highway, which is used to transport oil and gas and other mining and resource activities in the region. We were trying to set up a quick response, emergency response, to mitigate the hazards of the flooding and have the highway remain open. So we packed up the dock from Juneau and shipped it to Dead Horse, Alaska. And here is a video of what we're doing, and then I'll get into the details of that response.